Hey guys, this is Diesel from SarsFurnace.com and Legion of the Rogue Dragon. What you're about to see is a CoF Path 1 dungeon run, and I am basically going to narrate this run and talk about what you're going to face in this dungeon and how you can counter it. So when you're ready to run it, or the next time you're invited to run it, you will know exactly what's happening in the situation. So we're going to start out right here on the gate. When this gate drops, there's going to be two turrets on the left and the right side. Here we go. We're going to kill the one on the right side first. Just like that. And once it's down, we're going to move on to the one that is on the left when you first come in and kill that as well. Once that turret is down, we will move on to the two mobs there. Not sure what they're called. There it is. You can see it on the screen. They have a little bit of a knockback skill that does pretty heavy damage, so you might want to watch out for that. Their flame lines hurt pretty bad too, so take care, basically. Evade those AoEs, pretty basic. But yeah, you're just going to DPS them down, and then we are going to head down the hill, and we are going to kill off the slave driver. The slave driver does have an ad, a searing effigy that will spawn, and will walk up and start to range DPS you. Not a big deal. The main damage is going to come from the slave driver. He's going to be not vulnerable at first. He'll be in his green state, where he's just an NPC, and then obviously he turns vulnerable. And you're just going to want to DPS him as quickly as possible. Pardon me. So you just take him down. Take care of his melee attacks. They do hurt pretty ferociously. If you are a squishy character, your best bet may be to run range, although this is CoF. It is the easiest dungeon in the game, CoF Path 1. It is completely farmable, so most of the time everybody expects everyone in the group to run full melee, full DPS, just get in his grill. As you can see, somebody went down there. I believe he does get a revive, or no, he actually gets a rally off the kill. That's pretty standard. What you want to do is just get into his face, DPS him down as quickly as possible. And if anybody happens to go down, when the slave driver dies, they will rally up. I gotta say, it's very rare that you will have a party wipe on the slave driver. You shouldn't be afraid of them. Basically, we're gonna run past. We're gonna pardon me. We're gonna skip these mobs right now. We're gonna run right over this bridge as quickly as possible. Those three mobs there at the end of the bridge sometimes will be friendlies the entire time you run across the bridge, and sometimes they won't. It's a random thing. I don't know. Talk to ANET. We're going to get into this room, and 4 acolytes are going to spawn on these 4 corners of this central barrier, and they will have red cross swords over their head. You want to DPS those cross swords down, the acolytes that is, when they spawn up, kill them as quickly as possible, and then get to a safe area while you wait for them to respawn. As you can see here, we basically just zerk down those acolytes. I'd like to take this moment to apologize for my damage, by the way. As I'm watching this video, I'm realizing I'm not really deep-seeing very hard. I don't know why. I don't know what to say about that. I'm not wearing Zerk gear, obviously, and I don't know, numbers aren't very high, but that's okay, because all that matters is that we're going to teach you how to run CoF. So this is a safe area. You stand over here. Sometimes some mobs will still hit you. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll follow you all the way over there, sometimes they won't. If you kind of, like I was just doing, strafe left and right basically really quickly, just kind of pop left, pop right, you will avoid most of their range attacks. They will try to correct for your movement, and they will go far left or far right and won't really hit you. The acolytes, as you can see, spawn up periodically. When they do spawn up, you run in, you take them out really quick, and you basically rinse and repeat. You will do this for a total of 3 times. You will first go into the room, kill off all 4 acolytes, you'll hide. They'll spawn up, you'll go back, kill off the second set, you'll hide. The third time you kill acolytes, you only need to kill, I believe it is 2 of them, and it triggers the event as completed, and the rest of the mobs will disappear. I would never recommend that you try and kill the rest of these mobs. It's just a bad idea. They hurt a lot. Best bet is to kite them around and go to the safe spot. And it's completely unnecessary because the acolyte timer is not tied to their health bars or anything. The acolytes will spawn up when the acolytes spawn up. It's based on when they last died. So the very first acolyte that died will be the first one that respawns. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. Kill off acolytes. When the event is over, all the mobs, as you can see on the screen, will despawn, so you don't have to worry about any lingering mobs. I'm just going to clear out my inventory real quick. This was the end of a pretty long marathon dungeon grind of several different farmable dungeons, which I may or may not cover in future videos. This next portion's kind of crazy. When the gate drops, you will need to pick up a flaming boulder, and you will need to run through a hallway with flaming boulders moving to the left and to the right, just kind of swinging back and forth, left and right. You want to avoid being crushed by those boulders when you make your way through the hallway, and then when you get to the other side, presumably alive, you press F to light a flaming bowl of fiery stuff on the other side. All three of those have to be lit at the same time to progress, and there is an individual timer on each one. They will snuff out after a couple of seconds. In addition to that, the boulder in your hands will disappear after a couple seconds. So if you have a delay, you want to grab a fresh boulder before you make your way through that hallway. You don't want to just assume the boulder is still going to be in your hands. It does happen where you get to the end of the hallway and your boulder suddenly disappears just before you place it. It's very frustrating. Best thing to do, grab a new boulder just before you make the run if there's a delay of any kind. So after you leave the hallway with the boulders, you will be entering this room. You will see 4 objects, 2 in the front on the left and right side, 2 in the back on the left and right side. Think of them as a box, and there's one on each corner. What you need to do is run to that box, jump on top of that object, and keep hopping up and down to avoid taking damage from the mobs that will spawn. Do not leave that for any reason or any circumstances. You have to stay on it until the controller is dead and broken on the other side of the gate in this room. When the controller is broken, you will leave your brazier, you will go through the next room, which you will see in just a moment, you will grab your chest, and you will continue. If you happen to be the person who is attacking the controller in this scenario, you will go through this gate as soon as all the braziers are active, and you will basically just break this controller, doing as much damage to it as possible, while avoiding getting your face melted by this flamethrower. Nothing much to say here, a little bit of survivability. Usually someone with extremely high DPS does this, actually a high power, not high crit, for obvious reasons, because you can't crit on it. I guess it's not that obvious. Once that's done, enter this next room. Oftentimes, you want to go to the left side over here, change your weapons out for the boss fight if you need to. Wait for the rest of your group to make it through that room and for them to grab their chest. When you see that your group is hitting the boss or getting close to it, I'm actually a little late on this. I was trying to decide which weapon I wanted to use. I settled on the dual axe, by the way. When you get in here, you literally just DPS this boss as hard as you possibly can for the full duration of the fight. He has little to no mechanics. It's just straight up hardcore deeps to his grill. If you do happen to find yourself in the down state in this fight, target one of the crystals, the glowing purple crystals that are falling all around him, and attack it in the down state. When the crystal breaks, you will rally up and then continue the fight. It's much like the slave driver fight at the very beginning of this dungeon run. It's just all about getting in his grill and doing as much damage as possible. CoF Path 1, definitely the easiest dungeon to run in the game. Excuse me, the easiest path and dungeon to run in the game. It's all about just getting in there and doing as much damage as your character can possibly deal to get it done as quickly as possible and get your loot. That's about all there is to say about it. I guess you can enjoy watching the rest of the boss fight. You will get a 1G coin for doing this if you haven't done it in a daily period as a bonus chest, which you will see in just a moment. Boss is about to drop. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask anybody in the guild to kind of explain a little bit of the finer points of CoF, take you on a couple runs. This video is definitely not a substitution for doing the dungeon in order to learn it. This is simply just something to get you a little more comfortable with the dungeons, so you have a reference point when you first get in there and you're first getting ready to run it. That is it. You would definitely want to skip this cutscene if you were running it. There's kind of a long story as to why I was watching it. It's not very relevant or important. Thank you for watching. I hope that this taught you something. I hope that it was informative. And I'll see you in CoF.